Greetings, everybody. I'm Lobo, and welcome to Luna. This is episode 188 of my Minecraft survival series, and between episodes, I've been doing a little bit of thinking. And I know that's rare, but bear with me here. I was doing a bit of thinking about what the book lady, I can't call her that, I'm not supposed to call her that, enchantress? How about she who is not yet named? I was doing a little bit of thinking about what she who has not yet been named has been telling us about the Arcanine Order's history here in Luna, right? And in this story, which is how we're going to refer to this book for the time being, since we don't know whether all this is actually fact or fiction. We're about 3/10 of the way through, and coincidentally, so is the build that we're on top of, the Enchantry, so it seems there's a correlation between the completion of this build and the completion of this story, right? So, Wolfred is mentioned here, and so am I. Now, it says, the builder paved over our land, paved the way for the gray wolf, one Wolfred Wolfins. And I was thinking about this, it was kind of bothering me. And I was thinking, maybe this is true, I did kind of pave over their land, but to be fair, I didn't know it was their land, right? Now, I know ignorance is no excuse for culpability, but I thought I was doing something good here, right? I thought we were helping out the people of Luna. And that got me thinking, there's two sides to every story. So when she who's not yet named is talking about Wolfred and how Wolfred, quote, sought sovereignty over this land, how else could that be interpreted, right? What is Wolfred's side of the story? Maybe we should go and find him and talk to him and find out, because if the Arcanine Order has truly been wronged the way this book seems to imply they've been wronged, we do need to make things right, So I think it'd be best if eventually the three of us could maybe sit down, me, Wolfred, and she who is not yet named. I think it'd be best if we could sit down and just see what we can do to make all parties, happy here in Luna. Now, before we can fix what happened, we need to actually know what happened, and unfortunately, she who is not yet named is only giving us bits and pieces of information at a time as the Enchantry is getting completed, and we can't reliably contact her because she either A, resides in a book, or B, an alternate dimension. So we're going to have to try to get a little bit of information out of Wolfred. Now, Wolfred, as you may remember, doesn't really like it when I drop by the Law Nether Outpost unannounced, so we're going to have to come up with an excuse to visit him, and seeing how the Law Nether Outpost is on the way to and from the Mesa, and I do need some terracotta, maybe what we could do is just make a quick stop at the Mesa, get a few shulker boxes full of terracotta, and then we can drop by and say, hey, we were in the neighborhood, look, I was over here collecting terracotta. Now tell me what you know. Now, I don't know about you, Dee Dee, but that sounds like a pretty foolproof plan to me. So, I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and start collecting terracotta from deeper within the layers of this plateau, probably like these 3 layers right here. We'll go ahead and rip those out so that way I don't have to move the beacon. The beacon's already in a perfect spot to get those, right? So, I think the goal is going to be about 8 shulker boxes full of terracotta, since that's what I brought with me. So, at this point, let's go ahead and put on a little bit of music and get to work. Welcome back, everybody, and as you can see, we ended up clearing out a pretty good amount of space from within this plateau, a gravity-defying amount of space, because I not only got the initial 8 shulker boxes full of terracotta that I told you guys I wanted to collect, which we are going to be using today, but I also got an additional 1, 2, 3, and some change additional double chest full of terracotta, and some other odds and ends, of course. And we went through a few pickaxes, as is to be expected, and we'll have to make a return trip out here to get the rest of this terracotta once we drop this first batch off at Luna, and also visit Wilfred over at the Law Nether Outpost. But before we leave here, let's go ahead and check out this. As you can see, we unearthed the skeleton spawner over here, along with some treasures. Right now, I did already look through these, but we'll go ahead and take the stuff out of them now. So we got a music disc, which is awesome. We'll start a collection. I will have to go through Luna and figure out which disc we have and don't have, which ones we still need to get. And of course, we got an enchanted apple over here, which may come in handy in the future. But not only that, there's another one over here in this chest, along with some more discs. But now it's time to go ahead and pay Wilfred a little visit over here at the Law Nether Outpost. So we've got our pretense for the visit. Hey, we were in the neighborhood. We just collected a bunch of stuff, and we'll casually bring up in the conversation. So what's been going on with you and the Arcanine Order? What do you know about this, right? That's basically how we're going to bring up this conversation. All right, so Wilfred, guys, little research notes down there. Let's see if we can find him. He's got to be around here someplace. This isn't a large area. Wilfred, hello. Let's see what he's been working on. Maybe that'll give us a clue as to where he is. LOL resignation. What? Lobo, co-founder LOL. I am resigning from my position at Loonies Against Wolfins Labs. As you are now aware, I have a conflict of interest due to my ongoing association with Wolfins Labs. I wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors both in Luna and as the sole remaining organic member of LOL. Wolfred Wolfins. Resignation? What? Conflict of interest due to my ongoing association with Wolfins Labs. Wilfred! No! I mean, what am I supposed to think about this? He resigned from law, but he also wished us the best of luck. Those seem like opposing ideas, right? You can't have both. You can't want both. Wilfred seems to have chosen his side, but it's not our side. I don't know. You know, I am half tempted to march on over to Wolfins Laboratory and give Wilfred a piece of my mind. Because this, I don't understand. I mean, a lot of strange stuff has been happening in Luna, and sometimes it seems like not everything is as it seems, right? So maybe this is some kind of ruse, or something else is going on behind the scenes that I'm just not aware of. I mean, Wilfred, he can't have betrayed me, he can't have betrayed us, he can't have betrayed Law like that. He wouldn't do that, right? Or maybe he did. Maybe he played me for a fool. Maybe he played us for fools. LOL for fools. You know, some of you guys were warning me about Wilfred. I should have listened. How could he? No, I mean, he wouldn't do that, right? Something seems off about this whole thing. After everything we built here, after everything we've accomplished at Law, he wouldn't. Yes, he would, that evil genius, that mastermind. I wonder what else he's been manipulating us to do that benefits him. Maybe the Arcanine Order was right about him. Maybe the Arcanine Order was right. You know what? I'm gonna do something. Oh, my blood is boiling right now. We're gonna march right into Wolfins Laboratory. We're gonna give him a piece of our mind, okay? That's what we're gonna do. Oh, excuse me, sir. Hi, excuse me. Have you seen Wolfred Wolfins? I know he works around here. You haven't seen him? No? Okay, well, you know what? Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Excuse me, sir. Hi. Have you seen Wilfred? Hello. Yes, hi. Have you seen Wolfred Wolfins? The silent treatment, huh? Okay, nobody wants to talk. That's fine. We can't get the information we need through interrogation. Maybe a little reconnaissance is in order, okay? Now, I believe that Wolfins Laboratory has offices over here in the Quarantined District. So if Wilfred is in fact back with Wolfins Labs, he is going to have an office. I'm assuming he's pretty high up considering his last name is Wolfins and this is Wolfins Labs, right? So it would make sense that he'd have an office over here where the boardroom and executive offices are. Now, unfortunately, it does not appear to have been built yet. But we can fix that. Oh boy, can we fix that. So first things first, I need to go ahead and move the wiring for the lights down there at the entrance to the Quarantine District because, you know, look at this. Somebody was trying to impede my progress getting all this stuff built by putting these lights in the wrong place. No wonder they're so faulty. So let's go ahead and start planning some stuff out here. So in order to get to the boardroom and offices, we're going to have to go up some stairs, which are going to be located right here. Now, obviously, we don't have a whole lot of room on this side, so what we're probably going to have to do is make a little corridor right here that has additional stairways off to either side, leading up to the boardroom in the middle, right? So I think that's where we're going to start. No! No! We'll start in a minute. Ran into some technical difficulties. What are you doing over there, cow? How'd you get it? How? Now, brown cow? Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. Now, as is the case with much of the Quarantine District, it's going to be fairly dark. We're not going to have a ton of lighting, so it would make sense to make all the floors continue to be on the half slab level. That way we can avoid hostile mob spawns, right? So right now my main concern is just getting the floors in, getting the stairs in, so that way we can maneuver around this place fairly easily, and then kind of figuring out where the walls actually need to be and just kind of getting an outline in of what this should look like. And I think we're going to do something like this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come up the stairs into a reception area. And I think we're going to have a reception area prior to the boardroom because that makes sense to me. We do have a lot of space up here. We don't need the boardroom to be that big. And it would make sense to have like a little waiting area outside the boardroom. That way, you know, uninvited guests can't just barge in there during a board meeting and be like, hey, I got some business for you. Kind of like what I'm planning to do here eventually. Now, I think we're also going to leave a bit of space here in the back so we can work an additional exit to the boardroom and also some stairs down to where the offices are going to be. I think they're going to be on this level right here, so slightly lower than the boardroom. And the reason for that is so we can get kind of an arch-shaped roof to this, because that was the original intention. As you can see with this ceiling right here, it's kind of arch-shaped. I do want an arch-shaped roof, but this is a bit low, and you can't really see it from outside of the Quarantine District. So just to add some presence to this place, so I know what I want to do here, and now it's just a matter of translating that to blocks placed down in the world, right? Ow! So I think at this point what we're going to go ahead and do is call Dee Dee on over here, put on a little bit of music, and just get our floors in, figure out where our walls need to be, get like a general outline of this structure in place, and then we'll come back a little bit later and do some real building, right? Hopefully this isn't helping Wolfins Labs. I didn't think about that. Welcome back, everybody, and as you can not see, we have made some progress. To see the progress, though, we're going to have to go upstairs. So I have made stairs going to the upper levels of this place, the same on both sides. So these stairways are pretty symmetrical. We will have to go back through here and add some of these like vines and spider webs to just make this thing ruin. We'll also add some lighting in here that eventually makes sense. That's kind of the detail stuff that I'm not getting into yet. Right now, we're just getting, you know, this place built up, and we'll worry about making it look right a little bit later. Like, we'll do a bunch of the detail stuff later on. But we do have the stairway that goes up into this corridor, which, as you can see, there's multiple paths we could take from here. I think we'll probably start going up this path into the reception area prior to the boardroom over here. So what we'll probably end up doing, I think, is maybe just keeping this room fairly simple. We'll just place a desk over here somewhere, and from that desk, the receptionist can control access to the actual boardroom, which takes up much of the top central part of this build. Now, at the back of the boardroom, that's where we're going to have access to offices on either side, and these are going to be symmetrical, so whatever I say to this side applies to the other side as well. Looks like we're going to have about 7 offices on either side, from what I think. So that means a total of 14 potential board members that are going to be running things over here at Wolfins Laboratory. Plus one, we're going to have an additional seat at the table, which is going to belong to the CEO of Wolfins Laboratory, whose office is right over here overlooking Luna. So now we know basically what this place is going to look like, at least generally what it's going to look like. We know what this place is going to be used for. So now we need to get to building it up. And in this episode, we're going to be focusing more on the interior than the exterior. Like, there are certain parts of the exterior I know how they're going to be, but for the most part, I don't even know how big this place is going to be. So we're going to leave a lot of the exterior stuff until later on. But to start with, we're going to go ahead and start figuring out how each of the offices is going to look. And they're going to all follow a very similar aesthetic. Oh man, when night falls on the Quarantined District, this place gets dangerous. I mean, suitably dangerous, but I don't like it. I have left some spawnable blocks over here as I've been building, so hopefully by the time we're done with today's project, we will have, you know, gotten rid of those. Anyway, we're talking about the aesthetic of the offices at Wolfins Laboratory. They're going to follow a very similar aesthetic to the rest of Wolfins Laboratory because we want to keep everything cohesive, right? So we're going to use the same block palette we've used there as everywhere else. Cyan terracotta, lime terracotta, acacia, and dark prismarine. So at this point, we've got a little sample office built up, and we don't want to leave it bare. So let's go ahead and figure out how we want to actually decorate the interior of this. So I'm thinking right about here, we're going to have a desk. And I guess I would have to, let's go ahead and do something like this for the time being. I'm not exactly sure. I know this is roughly where I want the desk to be placed, but I'm not exactly sure how I want the desk to be shaped yet. So let's go ahead and get a chair in and see if we can figure out just how exactly we want to decorate this room. I'm thinking the desk needs to be bigger, actually. And you know what? You guys can hang around for this if you want, because right now we're just trying to basically figure some stuff out. So I think we're going to want the structure of the room to be very similar on both sides. So we could add another little acacia pillar on this side to match the one on that side of the room, right? Then we could border the room with acacia as well. Yeah, but this doesn't need to be there, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that once we get the rest of the border in around the room. So we'll go ahead and start bringing this around this way, get rid of this, and carry that around the whole thing. And if we're going to be doing that, we're going to have to kind of rearrange the room a little bit because the door will need to be moved over some to accommodate another pillar that's going to be located on the opposite side of the room from this one. So basically what I'm doing is just kind of breaking up all the flat surfaces. That way this room doesn't look too bare, too plain, too, I don't know, too much of it, like too much of an afterthought, you know? So we could add a little bit of decoration to it as well. So yeah, give me a little bit of time to kind of figure out what we're going to do with this office, because whatever we do in here, that's going to apply to the other offices as well. They're going to be very similar. So yeah, I'll be back with you guys in just a few. So as it stands, this is what I'm thinking we're going to do for each of the offices. Now, they're not detailed yet. Like, we'll add additional details, like perhaps little nameplates off to the sides of the doors. But I guess that's more like outside hallway stuff. We're not really getting around to the hallways yet. We will eventually. Like, we'll eventually get the hallways built up. But, I mean, this is all stuff that we're going to worry about a little bit later. Let's go ahead and talk about the office for now. So if we go in here, you can kind of see how everything is going to be. I'm going to need additional stone stairs up at the top for the acacia pillars. But you will notice notice there's no windows in here, right? Because some shady stuff probably goes down inside these offices. And they're all going to follow a very similar theme to this office. Like, we'll have some slight variations between each of the rooms, but mostly they're going to look like this. So back to the layout, I was thinking that the board members down on this side of the hall might want easier access to the boardroom, so maybe we'll make another little stair set that gives these guys easy access to at least the reception area prior to it. Now watch how convenient this is. We can take that wall design from the office, and then we can use it for each of the sections of wall for the boardroom as well. That works out great, I think. Shh. Yeah! Got him. That was the loudest spider ever. He was so annoying. So now that we know what the walls of the boardroom are going to look like, we can start focusing on the main feature of the boardroom, which is going to be the table where each member of the board meets with the CEO of Wolfins Laboratory to conduct their meetings and, plot badness. So we got the base of our chairs in, we've got the base of our table in. Now we'll go ahead and get the tabletop in, which I think we're going to go ahead and do in dark prismarine, just kind of carrying that through, right? Actually, now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking maybe we don't do it in prismarine. I kind of want to differentiate it from the walls a little bit. I think that might be just a little too much dark prismarine. So let's figure something else out here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to roll with some blackstone. I think that works for the table. That still says Wolfins Laboratory to me. Now, just so you guys can get a better feel for what this area is going to look like once completed, I went ahead and got a little section of roof over the boardroom here. So we're going to be using a glass roof. We're actually going to be using a glass roof over this entire thing, starting from kind of where the office is, where the ceiling of the office ends, and the rest of it will be glass, right? I should have actually done this office. That way we could do this whole section, get a better feel for it. But I mean, you get the picture, right? And actually, now that I think about it, maybe the desks should be blackstone as well. And maybe we should also add a little bit of extra detail to the wall. And I still haven't gotten those stairs in yet. All right, so I made a couple other minor little changes to this as well. So let's go ahead and see how everything is looking. Actually, hold up. Let me go ahead and put something over the door here to kind of break up that wall. But I think everything else is looking fairly good. And the rest of the offices, as I said, will follow suit. They're going to be all very similar to this. So is the boardroom. So is the CEO's office. And I think we're ready to go ahead and start getting all that built. So at this point, why don't we go ahead and call Dee Dee on over here, put on a little bit of music, and we'll just see if we can manage to get all of the executive section, the executive level of Wolfins Laboratory built. Welcome back, everybody, and as you can see, we have made some progress over here in Wolfins Laboratories Quarantined District. Much needed progress, if you ask me, because we do need to get over here and confront Wolfred, but we'll do that in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything we built so far. So, as far as exterior goes, we got the sides of the roof in, just the sides, and as you can see, that increases Wolfins Laboratories' presence throughout Luna quite a bit. They're kind of looming over Luna now, an ominous threat. Just the sides though, we only got the sides of the roof in because as you can see, well, you already saw the front, we don't have the front end, we don't have the back end, we don't have the connections to the other structures in Wolfins Laboratories in yet. We'll worry about that later. But for now, the main focus has just been the interior, right? So let's go ahead and make our way upstairs and take a look at that. So passing through the quarantine hub, we make our way up into the boardroom and executive office area. And we have this little corridor right here, which takes us to each of the individual sections. And you guys, you saw, what did we put together? We put together one office. I believe we put together this office right here. So you guys saw this one. So let's go ahead and take a peek at just a few of the other offices, just so you can see we kind of varied the layout in each of these, little rooms, just to give a little bit of variety, just make sure they aren't, all the exact same thing, because that's kind of boring, right? So just minor variations on a theme there. And then, I would expect to see more people around here. These offices are ominously vacant. I don't like that, because Wolfins Library does tend to conduct most of their meetings at night. So I don't understand that. Oh, you might notice we also got some lighting up here. So there's a light, there's no light, that one's out. We also poked a few little holes in the ceiling over here, so that way we can see through to the glass roof in certain areas, but not in others. Now, let's go ahead and make our way over to the reception area, which is admittedly kind of bare, but this is mostly just to, give access to the boardroom right here, right? And you can see we got the big Wolfins Laboratory W over there in the back, and this is where Wolfins Laboratory conducts all their meetings, at this table, at this very table. This is where consequential decisions are made. But in the back here, we do have additional access to each of the offices. That way, the board members don't have very far to walk before making their way into the table whenever any other board members or when perhaps the CEO of Wolfins Laboratory calls a meeting. Now, speaking of the CEO of Wolfins Laboratory, we have his office yet to explore, but I forgot to put the nameplates above the door. Hold on a second. Give me a minute. There we go. So now you can see the boardroom is currently vacant because there's a sign on the door, not because there's nobody in there. We also have signs over these doors, which are blank for some reason. I don't understand that. But one sign I know that's not blank, Wolfred Wolfins, CEO. And you know what? We're not even going to knock. We're just going to barge right in here. Wolfred! Wolfred! Who's this guy? Who's this fellow? Where's Wolfred? I was actually really expecting to find him in here. What is this? We got a book right here regarding Wolfred Wolfins Jr. What is this? Report. Wolfred Wolfins Jr. Okay, interesting. Regarding Wolfred Wolfins Jr., the following timeline of events summarizes the subject's history of opposition to Wolfins Laboratories and actions deemed detrimental to our mission. Detrimental? Okay, Wolfred. I like what I'm hearing so far. Let's go over here by the light so that way we can have some light so we can actually see what we're reading, right? So, video evidence indicates Wolfred left numerous writings implying one or more individuals at Wolfins Labs could not be trusted in books titled Hideaway. I remember those books. The books were discovered by the builder, raising suspicion against Wolfins Labs. Yes, they certainly did that. That was our first interaction with Wolfred, wasn't it? As I recall, anyway. Wolfred raised concern that unnamed individuals in the hierarchy of Wolfins Labs were acting against Luna with his father, CEO and founder of Wolfins Labs, Wolfred Wolfins Sr. He was designated a security risk. So all this talk about Wolfred Wolfins is Wolfred's father, Wolfred Wolfins Sr. That makes so much more sense. And that's such a relief. At least for now, we haven't gotten through the rest of this report yet. All right, so where were we? While Wolfred's co-conspirators were disposed of by more conventional means, Wolfred's punishment was more lenient. He was assigned to the builder, thus restricting his access to Wolfins Labs. And that's when Wolfred came to work for us, right? Recommended by Wolfins Labs. To keep Wolfred from continuing his investigations, it was determined he needed to be occupied with an increased workload. It was assumed the removal of the builder's other assistant, Watchdog, might prove beneficial on this front and another. So confirmed, Wolfins Laboratory took Watchdog. The other front must have been something to do with the Arcanine Order, but what? Why? Why would they need him for that? I don't understand. Wolfred's opposition to Wolfins Labs regrettably persisted, resulting in the founding of LAW, a group seemingly dedicated to exposing Wolfins Labs. It was imperative Wolfins Labs be kept apprised of LAW's operations. A decoy robot, model number WLDD-214, was assigned to observe and disrupt LAW operations. Its mission was initially deemed a success, resulting in Wolfred's imprisonment at LAW headquarters. Yeah, that happened. I'm not especially proud of that. WLDD-214 became compromised shortly thereafter, and Wolfred was released. LAW operations commenced. An attempt to recover WLDD-214 from LAW headquarters failed, resulting in the loss of the asset and potentially sensitive information. And that's how we found out about the Arcanine Order and about Watchdog, right? I mean, that was the whole reason we built the LAW Nether outpost, to keep Wolfins Labs from tracking Dee. Wolfred's actions and whereabouts in the following weeks remain unknown, though WLDD-214 was observed cooperating with the builder in and around Luna. It is suspected LAW accessed damaging information regarding Arcanine Order via WLDD-214. And yes, we most certainly did find out some damaging information. Alright, so Wolfred re-emerged. Okay, he called an emergency board meeting at Wolfins Labs, seemingly unaware the board had been dissolved by order of CEO Wolfred Wolfins Sr. So Wolfred came here, but the board had been dissolved by him. Dissolved in what sense is what I'm wondering. Because, I mean, it's obvious at this point that Wolfred Sr. has been behind this whole thing. Like the unnamed individual in the Hideaway books, that was Wolfred Sr. Wolfred told his father about somebody who ended up being his father. This is getting juicy. All right, there was one more page, right? Or was there? Wait a second. This isn't the end. This isn't complete. This report is incomplete. What happened? Or what is happening currently? This could potentially be bad. Wolfred came here looking for the board, but found his father alone. So what did his father do with him? I mean, I'm sure Wolfred's smart, right? He must have put this all together. So where is he? I would expect to see him if he came here. I would expect to see both of them, Wolfred and Wolfins Sr., right? I don't know. Okay, this is potentially bad. I mean, I think we can view our overall mission for today as a failure. We did not find Wolfred. We were not able to talk with him. And we also built up a significant portion of Wolfins Labs. So Wolfins Labs may be coming out on top in this episode, and we're also down yet another companion. Oh my goodness. Okay, wow. Anyway, that is all the time we have for today, guys. I'm sorry. This has just been a huge misstep on my part, but if you at least enjoyed the video, please feel free to hit the little thumbs up button, and if you want to see more, please remember to subscribe. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Lobo, and I will see you guys later.